Hey, everybody. This is Carla Atkins, and I'm here with the amazing Carolyn Bennett. Carolyn, I'm so excited that we're recording together today.
No, exactly. We have a blizzard blowing outside right now, and this is keeping me warm, and I was excited to be here. So glad we're here today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I just love that here with at the Zero Proof Life that we have started a YouTube channel because how many times that we talk, just offline about these subjects that I know I would have wanted to hear about, just even no matter where I was on my journey, when I was even on, that the end of curiosity and just curious about this whole alcohol-free life. And but also the topic that we're going to talk about today is something that really lured me in, just learning more about it as I was on this journey, watching myself step away from alcohol and how it changed relationships. And I just one of the powerful thing about all of us coaches is I feel like people have their natural topics that just feel good and right to them. For me, it's that mind work, the automatic negative thoughts. You get me talking on those ants, boys, and I cannot stop. I get so excited around anxiety. I love to talk about it. I know with you, it is nature and, but also where we haven't, really dove into, and I think we need to, is around alcohol and toxic relationships and how those two can really just like weave together and rear its ugly head. And I know we see it a lot in coaching. And I know that's a topic that lights you up as well. And just again, just background, knowledge, you love to learn about it and that sort of thing. So that's what I wanted to do this on today.
Sure, absolutely. And it's kind of funny to think, yeah, toxic relationship conversations light me up. But I think what it is the desire to help people break free from those, just like breaking free from the bonds of alcohol, right? Toxic substances, poisonous people, poisonous relationships, etc. And it feels a little wonky, especially as a Enneagram 2, labeling anyone in that manner. And so I try hard not to do that, but it definitely plays a role sometimes in people's drinking.
Right.
Often, and I know you see this too, often people try to drink at someone, or they try to drink themselves away from a situation or away from a relationship that they kind of feel stuck in.
Right.
And so then that starts a second spiral of addiction. Because what I have learned in my endless research is that toxic relationships can be just as addictive as toxic substances. We have something in our chemical makeup that's called peptides. And each time we have like something that happens or an emotion, maybe it's from an argument, maybe it's from someone coming at us with, an angry voice, maybe it's just toxic talk. It stirs up this emotion in us. It can be different from each person, for each person. Like you may have something said to you that you just walk away and you're like, I'm not dealing with that person ever again. Whereas I may be completely triggered by it from a past, maybe, or just whatever. And so it stirs up a different emotion in me. Anyway, all of that to say, these peptides are tied to those emotions. And
Was that I'm
yeah,
curious because when
yeah,
you first started sharing it with me, I'm like, oh, just so fascinated. And also, just so you know, there was a time there where I could, I know you said Enneagram 2, we talk about our numbers. I'm a 2. There was a time because I know your love of research that I'm like, well, maybe she's a 5. I think because
right,
you do.
right.
Carolyn loves to research. And when you were sharing about all of that, I was so curious. So when you say the peptides, is that just kind of like this, our body floods us with that. And so it's like a feeling that it brings
Yes,
with it.
yes, yes. And the thing is we have a peptide. Our hypothalamus secretes these peptides every time we have an emotion. That emotion can be joy, it can be terror, it can be freedom, it can be whatever. But each time we get flooded with these peptides, the thing is that our body can't really tell the difference. Is this peptide? Is this chemical dump coming from a feeling of joy, or is it terror? And so when we have strong emotions, again, whether they're good or bad, this peptides flow in at an even stronger rate. And what happens is people can get addicted to that flow of peptides. They can get addicted to every time they have an argument with their partner, every time maybe they're treated in a manner that many people would walk away from and not tolerate, they're getting this chemical hit from it. And that is what increases that bond of, the cycle of traumatic relationships or toxic relationships. So it is a very similar addiction to the addiction to alcohol, where we're, getting a dopamine hit, or we're getting, the chemical hits from alcohol. People can get that same addictive hit from toxic relationships. And I hope I'm doing it justice. Does it make
Yeah.
sense to you?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm just curious. And again, I'm just kind of grabbing, but again, I always like to lean into my own story and just the
Sure.
unhealthy place that I was in, but also just what I've seen then in coaching.
Mhm.
Would this be the same? I just remember because when my drinking world, I mean, it was filled with toxic relationships. That could be, romantic relationships or even friendships. I mean, just it was bad. I found myself when I always call this my health journey. I found myself um almost looking for that, missing that feeling. And again, it was almost like, where'd the drama go? And
Yeah.
I needed, and I think I was also mixing that up with being fun.
Yeah.
And the
Mhm.
it and
Sure.
so
Sure.
I I felt this feeling in my body, like,
Yeah.
where's the crazy thing that happened the night before? Where's the next thing? Is that what
Yes.
you're talking about? Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's that feeling. Unfortunately, we get a high from that drama. It doesn't necessarily make it healthy. It's the same, we also get a high for a few seconds after we take a drink, right? But
Right.
but the thing is when we come out of that and when we step away from it, whether it's alcohol, whether it's toxic people, it can feel this sense of calm, and that can feel very disconcerting to people, because just like what you said, it's not that we're not getting that high anymore. We're not getting those
Right.
chemical releases. We're not getting those hits of drama in our life. And sometimes it can feel, what it really is peace of mind, maybe for the first time in many, many years, right? Um,
Right.
but it feels almost boring, or it feels like, well, is this it? Um,
Yes.
and that is often when people return to toxic relationships. They've gotten out of it. They have all these people in their lives coming around saying, oh, thank goodness you're out of it. Well, not only are they having withdrawal from what you just described, they're not getting those chemical hits anymore. They're not getting this high from the dramas, the highs and the lows. And again, the thing with us with toxic relationships, it often follows a very, very similar pattern across the board. Most people that I have talked to who have dealt with maybe narcissistic people or a toxic relationship, there's this love bombing. People come in and they make you feel really good about yourself and they flatter you to no end. Guess what? Chemical hits, chemical hits. And then all of a sudden they were start kind of devaluing you and maybe not treating you so well and talking behind your back and making those little digs and those insults. Well, more chemical hits, right? Because our body reacts to that kind of stuff. How could it not? And then usually it flows into some kind of a blow up, whether it's somebody coming at you in an angry manner, or just starting fights all the time, or nitpicking, or making you feel worthless, or all those things. Chemical hits, right? Um, and so when you step away from those types of relationships, it all goes away. You're not getting your chemical hits anymore, which should feel really good, but your body is searching for that. It's like, dude, I was living in this constant state of reactivity, this constant chemical hits, these constant peptides were flooding my system. Now I don't have them anymore. And if you step away long enough, then you start to feel that sense of calm. And that is a lot of times when people go back to the cycle.
Right. Oh
Because,
my gosh, this is
oh, oh,
fascinating to
I mean,
me.
isn't it? I mean,
And
it really is fascinating. And I've learned a lot. And like I said, I have a lot to learn.
right.
But this piece of the puzzle for me was huge because it was like I couldn't figure out. I mean, she does not care that I talk about it. One of my very, very dear friends really almost lost her life to a toxic relationship. And when I described all of this to her, she's like, that's it. Right when everybody else was saying, good job, you've gotten away from this, I was feeling my worst. I
Right.
didn't know where to go because I felt so lost and so depleted and really depressed more than I was even when I was living in the toxic cycle. So,
Wow. It reminds me of what my coach has said to me a few times. And this is hard. It's hard to hear. And this would have been hard for me to hear in the midst of my behavior and my unhealthy behavior that I was stuck in, because I was stuck in this woe is me kind of victim. Look what keeps happening to me.
mhm,
Um,
sure.
mentality. And even again, moving out because we're human. Listen, I can steer in unhealthy ways, but I remember my coach saying, "What are you getting out of that?"
Yes.
And I was like, at first, kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. What do you mean? Look what they are doing. Look what happened.
Right.
And the question, what are you getting out of that? Number one, I just want to say, to our audience, and this is what I love about, the people that are in their community of the Zero Proof Life. I mean, all of these people are willing, because it needs to start like being able to take ownership, that agency, look in the mirror and own stuff. And I don't want to discredit, so I hope people hear me right. Believe me, people can step in and treat you absolutely horribly, and it's horrific. I've had that happen as well. But when I can start with me, and do the work here, it is so empowering,
Yeah.
to be able to then answer that and actually finally get to enjoy the big thing, what you just said, of what I was feeling was content. I
Yes.
didn't know what that felt like. I did not. It was such a foreign feeling. I remember, one, my nervous system was completely resetting. So it was a lot of things.
Right.
But what is this foreign feeling? And it was just this calm, or but and it was a whole new world, learning how to really sit in that and enjoy it. And now listen, I've gotten really good at it. I
Same
I
here,
have
right?
no
Yeah.
problem sitting in my peace. Don't worry about that. But it's hard.
For
It's
sure.
hard to own that. But I think anybody listening, man, I love it when people can go, you're right, that I am, kind of looking for that, because it's a missing piece of the puzzle to help you with your journey to learn that.
100%. And again, everything I was listening to you, it's kind of like describing that relationship with alcohol, right? When
Mm,
we come back into homeostasis, when our nervous system finally settles down, when it's not looking for that next hit, it really is peace of mind and it is contentment, and we don't know what to do with it. And so that's
right.
where we come along at the Zero Proof Life, and we're like, let's help you fill that space with beautiful things in your life. Let's allow you to just sit in the contentment and realize that, like, this is how we're meant to live. We're not meant to live on this crazy cycle of, all of it, drama that alcohol causes, drama that relationships can cause. We're not meant
Right.
for that. So I think,
Right. This is so amazing. And this reminded me again, it made me think back to 2019, you and I sitting over Zooms with bowls of popcorn, and our passion was, man, we need a place for that. What's next?
yes,
Okay, I've learned all this stuff about alcohol.
right.
Um, and again, the thing that I love about Zero Proof is you can still be struggling with that piece. That is kind of like the ideal, but you don't have to have this alcohol piece nailed down. Most people do not. Um, but some people do, or some people are new to it. But it is a whole other beast of trying to figure out, okay, now how do I live life alcohol free? And being able to openly talk about things, I think it's fascinating, it's empowering, and also gives us lots of aha moments of, oh, that's That's why I was doing that.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, this conversation can continue on forever.
Right.
So many other things we can
Well,
lead into, but thank you for today.
absolutely. I just want to encourage people, if you listen to this, you have any comments, please drop a comment, or if you have questions, or if you want, Carolyn to talk about something more specifically around this, then we'll get back on and do it. But please just, again, or share it with someone that you think might be interested. I found it fascinating. I had no idea all of that information. So thank you for watching. Again, any questions you may have or a topic that you would like us to cover, again, just let us know and we will make it happen. But thank you for listening to us today. Thank you, Carolyn, for letting me ask you all about this.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Bye-bye.